Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal on a beautiful Monday morning. It is already 12 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which would make it about 53 in American. So that's a great way to start the day. 4 more sleeps until vacation time. Very exciting indeed. I'm getting to the point where I'm sort of still mentally trying to go through my list and see what I have and haven't got. It's amazing really how much one needs to do that. In the days when I traveled a lot, I had this packing list that used to work really well for me, but this one is different because I have got all the technology to take with me as well. And so that requires different thinking. However, the extension cord went into my suitcase today. I'm sure it'll confuse the people at the baggage checking, but it's gone in. Because what reliable person with a computer and editing needs can go without having an extension cord. So and I don't mean a little one, I mean, you know, a 20, I think mine's about 20 feet long. And the reason for that is I'm pretty sure that I will end up doing quite a bit of editing out on the patio in the shade, but on the patio with my earphones on. I must admit that as I said to you, that I always admire Judy for the fact that, you know, when people visit, I know when I visit, and I'm sure it's true of everybody, she will sit down and quietly with an earplug in her ear sort of edit She will edit as she just sits there quietly watching the children. And it's an art. And I guess after that many years of doing it, she does it seamlessly. So you never really think about it. She's just sitting there with a computer on her lap and earplug in, and she's just doing her thing. Interesting to see. So it was a good weekend. One of the questions that came up a number of times is, why have I stopped doing a Saturday evening broadcast? And I thought I'd just go over that one more time for those of you who didn't hear the reason. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, and I'm sure you can, that being a YouTuber 24/7, well, almost 24/7, I mean, other than the fact that I work, being a YouTuber person requires that you spend an awful lot of time editing and doing stuff like that, as we were talking about. But also, if you're broadcasting on a schedule, it means that you don't get to see your own real friends. And what I started to realize was that I was saying no too often to my real friends for functions that were being held on Saturdays, which is the one day that most people are available. And so what I decided was, you know, I don't want to constantly be the person that makes their friends adjust to be able to see them. In other words, my friends had to see me during the week in the evening or on Saturday lunchtime. And I didn't want to be that person. And so something had to give. either my friends or the Saturday night broadcast. So it was a no-brainer. As much as I love what I do, I cannot do it at the risk of my friends, because they've been there a long time. And they will be there a long time if I continue to do that. Also, it gave me one clear day where if I wanted to, I could have the day off. And I say if I wanted to because I nearly always end up cooking something or doing something for a vlog anyway. But that's not the point. The point is I don't feel duty bound. You know, I've got so many hours before I have to do a broadcast or whatever. And I did find that it became sort of, I was tired and needed a day off. And anyway, so that was the reason. Nothing very dramatic. Now, it doesn't mean that I won't ever do a broadcast on a Saturday. I probably will every now and then. Especially now that we're beginning to try Hangouts a bit more. And also now that hopefully we will be able to do a live broadcast again soon. I just can't quite work out what I didn't do right on the live broadcast this weekend, but I will find out. And when I do, we'll get it fixed. So the question that I had for you today, and I wonder whether any of you have noticed this. Because of all our technology, we don't write as much as we used to. Everything we do now is so fast and furious. You know, the speed at which we text, the speed at which we write an email. It's like a fleeting moment and then press send and gone. And I was just thinking the other day, you know, when we used to write letters to people, if you think about it, it was a relaxing thing. You sat down and you just got to relax while you wrote this letter, and it could take you half an hour. But it wasn't stress. It was just, well, it was stress to have to write the letter sometimes, now that I think about it. But once you did it, you know, you just say, but the reason that I mention it is because I know it's part of getting older, but I'm noticing that I'm not writing as well as I used to. When I say physically putting the pressure on the paper and writing. And I think part of it is because we just don't do very much anymore. And, you know, we used to write so much. And now we hardly ever do. Now it's all typing, so we're using different muscles, I guess. And I am sad about that. It is what it is, but I'm sad about that because I think the art of writing is fast disappearing. So I was wondering whether any of you have noticed that as well, which is that you almost resent having to physically write something, like a card or... I wonder if any of you noticed it writing Christmas cards this year, for those of you who did. Amazing, really. Let me have your experience. It may just be a case of my age, you know, and I'm getting older and therefore, you know, my muscles are not working as well as they used to or something. But I don't think so. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we just don't do it as much, or I'm not doing it as much anyway. So maybe I'm the only one. And I guess that leads me to the second question, which is, how do you feel when you get, or maybe the first question is, when did you last get a handwritten letter from anybody? And then, how did it feel when you got a handwritten letter from somebody? And it's really strange how, I'm trying to think back when somebody last handwrote me a letter. No, actually I've had them. I've had quite a few people write me handwritten thank you notes, so now that I think about it, that sounds arrogant and I don't want it to. Alright, but anyway, I can, now that I think about it, I have had quite a few handwritten letters. And I love them. I've got to say that I really do love receiving a handwritten letter still to this day. Now, something happened to me when I was changing money. For those of you who saw the video when I went to go and cash in my holiday money, the money I'd been saving, I can't remember if I told you, and if I didn't, then I should, but because it was interesting. While I was waiting for them to change my money into some American money, I heard this lady talk about her allergies. Now, a lot of us are suffering with allergies this year. I don't know whether this is internationally, but I'm certainly hearing a lot of people suffering more with allergies. Does anybody know why? Why are we suffering more and more with allergies? Now, somebody told me that it has to do with the food that we're eating. I cannot believe that the pollen count is that much greater than it used to be. And so it makes me believe that in some way our bodies are less able to cope. If anybody's seen any research on that, or anybody wants to do some, and let us know, that would be interesting. But I definitely am noticing it at work, and I've got an added problem because the air quality at work is not, I don't think, as good as it might be. Because I notice as soon as I walk into work, my eyes water even more, and my throat closes up even more. So an interesting one to have a look at. So I guess I want to go back to this writing thing and ask you, who would you like to receive a letter from? And have you considered writing to that person? That would mean you'd have to stop doing and just sit down and write a letter. And the reason that I noticed the problem was because I sat down to do that. And I used to have quite nice writing for a while in my life. And what I noticed was when I sat down to write this letter, my writing was all over the place. It just didn't have that sort of flow to it. So my challenge is, even if it's a card, to thank them. And don't just sign it, actually say some nice things to somebody. I wonder how many of you will take up that challenge. Let me know if you do. And then, when you've done it, also let me know whether you've noticed a change in your writing. skills because of all the work we do, texting. And emailing. By the way, if any of you really want to have a disaster zone area picture, I'm not going to take it. It's my bedroom at the moment. And because now I have taken down my summer clothes to find the things that I'm missing. And I haven't got time to wash them all before I go and put them away, so they're going to stay sort of, as decoration on my floor, let's put it that way. And Manon, you would be proud of me. But it was just like, wow, now I've got total devastation going on. As Yvonne will tell me, it'll still be there when you get back. And there's that little part of me that goes, wouldn't I love to have it all tidied up before I go away on vacation? And I could, you know, if I didn't have to do a few other things instead. So it's the old story of what are your priorities? And so I laugh at myself about this one. This is dear Mama Sol saying, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you write to somebody. Or I hope you receive a written letter. It's a dying art. This is dear Mama Sol saying bye-bye for now.